One.
Coming to you from Bakersfield College Softball. Good evening, everyone. Tom Myers joined by the Dr. Julian Wilson in his production duties here up atop the press box at Bakersfield College Softball Field. We're getting ready for the second game of a doubleheader here. The Renegades losing the first one to the Warriors 4-0. A complete game tossed by Lexi Ramirez of the Warriors. 5 strikeouts and giving up only 3 hits. For the Renegades, Serenity Angulo was in the circle today, struck out 2 and gave up 4 runs and 11 hits. And tonight, this is going to be a fun one. Julian, we're back at it, man.
Yes, we are back. And, man, we had a great baseball game. I'm sorry you didn't get a chance to see that, but it's been a great day for BC Bakersfield College sports.
Renegades were trailing 6-3 in that game and then came back to win it 7-6 and a walk-off to right field, a fly ball. Bases were loaded, and then they ended up scoring, winning 7-6.
Unbelievable game.
On the mound for the Renegades today, Alexia Martinez. Martinez, a fantastic pitcher for the Renegades. Their ace, a 3.15 ERA. And she's facing Savannah Castigar, the first baseman. 1-1 the count. A balmy evening up here at Bakersfield College, temperature in the 60s. Nice little pop out to second base. And one away. Renegades really having trouble getting something started in the last game, hoping that their bats will get going, but honestly, having Alexia Martinez at the helm to captain this ship today for this second game, hoping the Renegades can hold the Warriors at bay on the scoring end. And that one just hits the outside of the plate for a first strike. 0-1 the count. Isabella Harrison over at second base made that last play for the easy out. That one just outside and in the dirt. And 1-1 the count. So once again, welcome in everybody. Again, the first game, Renegades lost 4-0. And in that game, it really was like a 2-0 in the first inning. And then the Renegades kind of held on defense for a number of innings, gave up 1 in the 4th and 1 in the 7th. A number of runners left on base. 3 runners left on. 2 in the 6th inning and 1 in the 7th. They just couldn't get anything going. And the pregame show today was on YouTube, Julian, and I saw a couple of interviews that went on through that day. And, of course, you know, the one that kind of sticks in my mind was Casey Goodman talking about how they're having trouble getting the offense going.
Right, and you know, she brought up some very good points. We got a hit there.
Quick one to second. Harrison over there to cover, throws her out at first base, and 2 are down here in the top of the first inning.
Yeah, she brought up some good points, you know, highlighting mostly that the girls were a little bit worn, and she understood it, and she talked about how she took them off to kind of decompress, and we all need that, and so I was glad she did that for the team.
Last week, 5 games in 6 days.
Yes.
That's an awful lot for a squad to handle. The Renegades are 4-2 right now in conference, and honestly, you know, the one thing we haven't talked about yet, El Camino, the Warriors, 20-3 so far, one of the top teams in the state right now, and even the Renegades not getting run ruled in that last one. I don't want to say it's a miracle, but something else when you're facing one of the top teams in the league, and then you can only, you know, they only ramble off 4 runs on you when it's a team that really does score, and a very productive offense on a 10-game winning streak right now. That one over to shortstop. Sadie Salas makes quick work, and we're done with the first top of the first inning, and we'll be back with the bottom of the first right after this. Salas, Perez, and Bramhall coming up here in the bottom of the first inning. The remainder of the roster, batting fourth is going to be Serenity Angulo. Fifth, Liz Alderete, the designated player. Sixth is going to be Cambria Scott, the first baseman, followed by Barajas, Padilla, and Harrison. So Sadie Salas now up to bat. Salas a 370 batting average so far this season. She drives that one out of play and over the right field fence. No balls, one strike. Renegades trying to get the bats going here in the early going. And a little quick stop at play as they get the ball back in bounds from out of play. They could have left that one probably until afterwards. On the mound, Lexi Ramirez, a complete game, holding the Renegades only to 3 hits in that first one. And that went in high. 1-1 the count. So Ramirez in control in that last game, really shutting down the Renegades. That one's fouled off out of play. And the count's 1-2. And we got here early and watched the first one, Julian. You were gone for a little while and back and had some lunch, and we I kind of watched, these two teams play, and honestly, the Renegades aren't that far behind this El Camino squad. That one in there for a strike, and the count's 2-2. Renegades hoping that they can get the bats going in this second one, having already faced Ramirez for 7 innings, 7 solid innings. Maybe get their timing down and have a chance. That one's inside, and it's got a ball. Oh, they're going to call that one a strike. No, she thought it was a strike.
Oh, wow.
He didn't call it a strike. She threw it down to first. Aliya Pintado thought that was a third called strike, and he's saying, no, the count's going to go full.
And you rarely see a catcher turn around and talk to the ref with their mask off.
She seriously thought that was. And now I'm not even sure what the call is.
Oh, wow.
And Salas gets walked to first base. So Sadie Salas now over to first. And the Renegades have a runner on with nobody out here in the bottom of the first inning.
Well, Tom, we can only hope that there wasn't some penalty as a result of the discrepancy at the plate.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be honest with you. I've called baseball, and I've called football, and I've called basketball, and I've called volleyball. I've never heard of a rule in softball where if you argue with the umpire, you get a free base. I don't know what that rule is. We'll have to check with Sheree Shoemake, who is down below calling the game today as the PA announcer. She usually is my barometer when it comes to softball rules that are just a little bit different than baseball rules. And, of course, all of our softball fans out there, obviously they know something we don't know.
And see, they're still talking about it. So, like I said, something wasn't.
We had a little bit of a discrepancy in the first game, and I'm trying to remember who the player was, and it may have been the catcher, Aliya Pintado, who laid down a bunt, and as she stepped out of the box, she actually kicked the ball, and that's an automatic out. And so the coach at the third baseline was not happy with the call and kind of confused about what it was. They did get it straightened out, but I think she was still arguing the call, didn't understand. She said the ball didn't get touched, but you could tell it was really obvious that it had. And that one is fouled back as Salas runs to second, thinking she's stealing base, but the play was dead. And right now, Aliya Perez, just the center fielder, just trying to advance Salas over to second. And Perez, a .403 batting average on the season. So the Renegades do have the ability to put the bat on the ball. Salas trying to fake like she's going down to second. And, of course, Pintado up out of her crouch really fast, getting ready to fire that ball down to second base. Salas hinting again over at first base. You know, Julian, one thing I think people don't understand is the speed of this game. Softball has an awful small confined space. It's much smaller than a baseball field. These girls move really fast.
Right, and it's not an easy sport to play.
And a nice slap at the ball, and she's going to beat it out over in the and hell, Salas is all the way over to third, and she makes it in there, and she's safe, and we got runners at the corners. Salas took advantage of Lily Lewis over at second base, wasn't paying attention. She was a little behind getting to the ball because she was playing closer to second base and had to really move to get that ball from going into the outfield. And Sadie Salas makes her pay, rounds second base and heads into third, sliding head first and gets called safe. And now the Renegades in scoring position with runners at the corners here in the bottom of the first inning. And Brylee Bramhall up to bat now, a 3.64 ERA. Oh, no! And Aliya Perez is going to get caught. And she's going to get under the tag, and it's going to get called safe.
And we're going to have another dispute, Tom.
And I think right now it appears that El Camino coach Jessica Raposa is going to come out and have a conversation with her team, because this is not the squad that we saw in that first game. And the mistakes of running on the base path were numerous by the Bakersfield College Renegades. And honestly, we've seen a couple of bad ones right now. Just that one. She's lucky that she got in under that tag.
Well, right now, you said the right thing about the Warriors, but the Renegades are also a different team than that first game. They've come out with a little bit of an edge, I'd say.
A little bit of fire in their belly, absolutely. And so now the Renegades with nobody out. The count is 1-0 to Bramhall. And again, Bramhall with a 3.64 batting average. Salas on third, Perez on second. And both of them looking to move at the crack of the bat, hoping to get a run across. Renegades are on a 5-game losing streak right now, so it's been a tough couple of weeks for them.
Right.
They are 4-2 in conference, and Bramhall with a big swing and a miss, and now it's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You know, Tom, and I guess it's safe to say El Camino does not want to lose this game. They don't really want to lose this game. It messes up RPIs and all that stuff.
You don't want to split a pair, especially when you've got, you know, such an absolutely incredible hold over the Renegades in that first game. You know, the dominance was really enforced. And so hopefully what they're looking for now is to kind of get out of this inning a little unscathed. And this honestly looks kind of like the first inning in the opposite direction of the last game. The Warriors put up 2 runs in that game, and now the count's 2-2. So Ramirez fires, and it's right back up the middle. And she's going to fire over to third instead of going to first. And now the bases are going to be loaded for the Renegades, and not a smart play by Lexi Ramirez, who should have gunned down the runner. And Brylee Bramhall gets a free one on a fielder's choice that goes awry. She was hoping to catch Sadie Salas kind of off the bag, and Salas didn't get too far away and manages to get back. And now Serenity Angulo coming up to bat. Angulo, the best hitter on this squad at .452 average. And she's got 4 home runs on the season. So this would be the time. The infield kind of playing middle, playing in just a little bit. Of course, looking to protect the plate by firing home if they can on a base hit or a shallow fly ball. First pitch called strike. Here comes the second, and it's inside, and the count is 1-1. Salas, Perez, and Bramhall The runners on base right now looking to score. No outs in the bottom of the first inning. We're tied at 0. That pitch is inside. Now the count's 2-1. And as we said, Alexia Ramirez pitched the last game for the Warriors, a complete game, only giving up 3 hits. And right now, a couple of errors in the beginning of this one are not really helping out. Here comes the 2-2 pitch, and that one's outside. Now the count is full. So Angulo in that last game pitched a complete game. That one's going to be over to second. A run's going to score, and Angulo's going to be safe, and the Renegades on the board with their first run of this doubleheader. So Angulo gets the RBI. And the Renegades now have runners at the corners with 1 out. And coming to the plate, Liz Alderete, the designated player. Already a .238 batting average. Swing and a miss. And the runners are very active at the corners right now, just trying to throw off Alexia Ramirez a little bit and trying to keep Anaí Pintado awake behind the plate. Angulo looking to probably steal here. And a swing and a miss. And the count is 0-2. Already with a .238 batting average, but at .377 on base percentage, and she's going to pop that one up to the pitcher, and 2 away. And now coming up, first baseman Cambria Scott. Scott, the freshman infielder, a .323 batting average. And she's looking to bunt, pulls back, and that one's over to second base. Lewis handles it and puts her away, but not after a little bit of damage. The Renegades finally on the board, and we're heading to the second inning right after this.
Life's better when you're a member of Valley Strong Credit Union. Because footing the bill's hard, but getting points makes it easy. And going to the pharmacy's a pain. But saving on your prescriptions is a relief. And unexpected bills are hard. But getting your paycheck direct deposited early makes it easier. When life moves, keeping up is easy with Valley Strong's new checking benefits.
So the Renegades get a run in the first inning. They're first in the last 8 innings. And looking to keep this defense tight with a new pitcher. And, of course, that pitcher is Alexia Martinez, the ace of this squad for the Renegades here in the top of the second. That one hits the outside corner of the plate for a first called strike. And Julian Wilson told me they sold a lot of hot dogs today up here. A great day for baseball and softball at Bakersfield College. And the snack bar, I think they're still open.
Yes.
They have plenty still to go. And that one's going to be hit a fly over to right field, just out of play. And Serenity Angulo over in right now. Pitched that last game. And she looked like she was going to reach up to snag it, but wasn't sure she was going to get it, but let it go so it would be foul.
Well, you know, as soon as she got close enough to the line, she could see that it wasn't going to be in bounds.
And she didn't want to risk it bouncing out of her glove because she didn't have a complete beat on it.
Right.
No balls, 2 strikes. The count to Lily Lewis, the second baseman. Lewis, a .458 batting average, batting in the 4 spot for the Warriors. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. And that one, a fantastic changeup thrown by Alexia Martinez, and it freezes Lily Lewis. And now 1 away.
I think that froze me, and I'm sitting up here. That was a great pitch.
You know, there's nothing better in a toolbox for a softball pitcher than a fantastic changeup, because you're coming with that heat, and then somehow you manage that off-speed pitch, and it just freezes people all the time. So Martinez with a great changeup. That one through the gap over in and all the way out to the fence. And Lexi Ramirez with a stand-up double. Jumped all over the first pitch by Alexia Martinez. And Ramirez finds her way into second base now with 1 out here in the top of the second. Once again, the Renegades leading this one 1-0. Jackie Ordonez, the center fielder, now up to bat. Ordonez hitting .308. And that one over to shortstop.
Oh.
And interference is going to get called on Lexi Ramirez as she got in the way and made contact with Sadie Salas over at short. And she's going to automatically be out. And Ordonez will make her way to first base.
Yeah, Tom, that was a clear call. She even looked down.
Yeah, I think she knew it.
She knew
as soon as she rounded third, she really wasn't coming that hard. And I don't think she would have rounded. Well, it did go into the outfield, but I'm pretty sure that she knew contact had been made. And now Emily Gamboa, the designated player, is up. And the hit and run was on as Ordonez was taken off towards second. And that one fouled out of play. Gamboa batting .339 this season. 18 RBIs. The second leading hitter on the team for RBIs, led only by Savannah Castigar. Castigar has 28. That one hits the outside corner. It's called a strike, and the count is 1-1. So surprisingly, and I had to kind of take a double take on this, only 3 pitchers on each one of these squads. That one back to Alexia Martinez, fires over to first base, and the Renegades get out of the inning. Still leading 1-0. We'll be back with the bottom of the second. So we're back. Renegades leading 1-0 here in the bottom of the second inning. Barajas, Padilla, and Harrison coming up this inning. Andrea Barajas, the catcher for the Renegades now. Barajas, a .250 batting average. That one popped up to third base. And Emma Garcia makes quick work of it, and one down. Now up Jennifer Padilla, the left fielder. Padilla batting .227. .227 with a .306 on-base percentage. And that one grounded over to third. A great snag by Emma Garcia. Almost snow-coned it, but managed to fire over to Savannah Castigar. And that's the second out of the inning. And Alexia Ramirez finding her way through this inning fairly easy so far. And Isabella Harrison, the second baseman, now coming up to bat. Two great plays over at third by Emma Garcia so far. Well, one, that pop-out was fairly routine, but that was a good snag on that play on that hopper. Harrison trying that slap down third base line, fouls it off, and the count's 0-1. And that was a little high, and now the count's 1-1. Harrison batting .320 so far this season. And one of the leading players on this team with 75 at-bats so far. The leader in at-bats for this squad so far, Sadie Salas, with 92 appearances this season. That one fouled off to the net. And now the count's 1-2. Alexia Ramirez seems to have settled in, getting the first two outs fairly quickly. A fly out and a ground out to Emma Garcia. And that one slapped once again down the third base line.
You know, you can tell by the way she's batting, she is actually trying to direct where that ball goes.
Yeah, that slap hit, that's something in softball that you don't see in a baseball game very often, but it's really effective on a softball diamond. And a lot of players that are left-handers, they find their way towards first base a lot quicker as a result of that. And there you go, over to second base, and she's racing trying to beat the throw and doesn't. And the Renegades go down 1-2-3. And we're going to be back with the third inning after this. Garcia, Pintado, and Castigar up to bat this inning. And Cami Garcia, the right fielder, fouls her first one off, out of play. Garcia batting .271 this season. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Well, I stand corrected. That was the 0-1 pitch, but now it is 0-2. Well, in one of those, they called a strike. I must have missed it, Julian. I didn't see that call, so it's 1-1. Top of the third inning, Renegades leading 1-0. Sadie Salas with a nice throw. The routine grounder, and one is down here in the top of the third.
You know, Tom, and real quick, I'll tell you what the discrepancy is. This particular umpire, great guy, but when he calls balls and strikes, he calls the balls as well, and it sounds like he's saying strike sometimes.
And now Cami Garcia, Anaí Pintado, the catcher, who caught the entire first game. I'll tell you what, that's a tough pill for anybody, but to pitch a back-to-back in a doubleheader, that's a tough one for anybody. And a catcher, boy, you got to have all the respect in the world for Anaí Pintado. Pintado batting .313. And her on-base percentage is .395. And now the count is 1-1. So Pintado in the 9 spot. And the Renegades being led by Alexia Martinez right now in the circle. That's a nice pitch called, strike, and now the count's 1-2. And I think that they wanted to save Martinez for the second game with the hopes of getting a win in the first one and then kind of putting their foot on the pedal in the second one. It was definitely a smart move to save her for the second game. A nice changeup, handled very well by Sadie Salas and over to first base for the second out of the inning. Fans, for more information about our schedule of all of our spring sports, go to gogades.com, and there you'll find softball schedules and our baseball schedule. Of course, we're going to be broadcasting several more baseball games throughout the season, Julian Wilson and I, and boy, really looking forward to the remainder of this one. And they're coming out with a schedule for football pretty soon. They haven't given me the green light on that one yet. I'm still kind of waiting. That way I know what to plan for the fall.
Yeah, well, Tom, I think everybody's waiting on the football schedule. Everybody's looking forward to this football season.
Absolutely. A lot of great players on that team from last year are returning for a second season. And, boy, I'll tell you what, it's definitely going to be a good one up here at Bakersfield College. Everyone will be looking to get their tickets for football season. We're going to be doing some really neat things at the beginning of some of the games, so we're really looking forward to some stuff. Find out more. It'll be on our webpage, once again, at gogades.com. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. That one over to, and it's mishandled by Isabella Harrison. She had gotten her glove down, and now it's going to call an error on that. There was a chance, an easy grounder, and she just fumbled it. It bounced right out of her mitt and out into the shallow right field. And luckily, held Pintado just to first base. First pitch outside, and the count's 1-0. And I think we had a little bit of a schedule change. They kind of do that. From what I've been told, they change some players sometimes when you're not expecting them to change them. So that one's in there for a strike, and now the count's 1-1. And only that, her hair is in the way, so we're having a little bit of trouble figuring out who's up to bat. It looks like number 3, and that's Emma Garcia. So Emma Garcia in the 9 spot, and I think they put her in the flex position, although I'm not really sure. I'm a little confused on this one. We'll have to square that one away. And an easy catch by Jennifer Padilla out in left field, and we're going to the bottom of the third right after this. Coming up in the inning, Sadie Salas, Aliya Perez, and Brylee Bramhall. Renegades leading 1-0. We've already got a couple of changes, and they don't really notify us very well. We have to find out kind of on our own. But there's a player shift somewhere, and we're kind of waiting to find out from the PA announcer, Cherie Shoemake, who they are spotting now.
You know, and you have to really pay attention to the umpire and the coaches. That's only when you'll find out that there are changes.
So 5 is out and 15 is in. So Lily Lewis is coming out, and number 15 is coming in for her, and that's going to be Ari Molina. Molina now taking over at second base. So Ari Molina now coming in for the Warriors, and she's going to come in over at second base. Quick hopper over to shortstop. Fires! Great throw by Cheyenne Navarro. And Sadie Salas goes down quickly, swinging on the first pitch. That'll bring up center fielder Aliya Perez now. Perez reached on an error in the first inning. And a swing and a miss. Count is 0-1. So that first inning was a little bit tough for Alexia Ramirez. And the bases were loaded at one point, and a nice laydown bunt. Oh, wow.
Perfect bunt.
That was a perfect bunt by Aliya Perez. She dropped that bunt down, and it rolled about 12 feet.
It almost stopped.
And a great job by Emma Garcia trying to get to it and throw her out over at first, but it was just too late. And the speedy Aliya Perez gets on base. And now Bramhall also reached on an error in the first inning. First pitch called, and that's a ball. And it looked like a strike. It was a little bit high.
And it sounded like a
but
strike.
Again, we kind of thought, yep. Ramirez with the 1-0 pitch. That one's popped up. Over to Ari Molina, and Molina gets the second out. So that first inning was a little bit of trouble for Alexia Ramirez, but she's kind of been coasting ever since. So now there's 2 down here in the bottom of the third inning, and Serenity Angulo coming up to bat. Molina makes easy work of it, and the Renegades go down 1-2-4. And we're heading to the fourth inning right after this.
Life's better when you're a member of Valley Strong Credit Union. Because footing the bill's hard, but getting points makes it easy. And going to the pharmacy's a pain. But saving on your prescriptions is a relief. And unexpected bills are hard. But getting your paycheck direct deposited early makes it easier. When life moves, keeping up is easy with Valley Strong's new checking benefits.
And we're back at the top of the fourth inning. Cheyenne Navarro now up to bat. That one driven into left field. A nice solid swing on a first pitch. And Julian, we talked about that just at the break. A lot of first pitch swings today by both squads, about 5 or 6 of them so far.
Yeah, and and it's just like we discussed, the only people that I know that are qualified to swing at the first pitch are people like Mookie Betts.
That's
who lost to the Dodgers.
Absolutely.
Because he'll hit it over the fence. But normally, what's the rule?
There is no rule.
There is no rule.
Pretty much, maybe they're being told to jump all over the, sometimes what happens is the dugout will keep track of what a pitcher's throwing. And if they say they have a tendency to throw a first pitch strike, that's usually your key to jump on that pitcher on that first pitch strike and at least give it a shot. So kind of right now, seems to be working for both ball clubs. And Navarro with a base hit. And Ari Molina now coming to the plate now. She replaced Lily Lewis at second base. Not really sure why. Lily Lewis did strike out in the second inning, so this is Molina's first at bat of the game. So Molina once again coming into the game at second base, tries to lay down the bunt. That one's missed, and the throw over to second, and she got her.
Great play.
And I think Cheyenne Navarro thought that she didn't get tagged, and she ran kind of out and around the base to avoid the tag. And the umpire running over to second base saw it, and a good job by Sadie Salas in applying the heat on that one. A fantastic throw by Andrea Barajas. And there's one away, and the count is 0-1 to Molina. And a grounder to short. Salas with a nice running throw. A good job moving to her right. And coming forward, scoops that one up and throws. And now there's 2 down. With Alexia Ramirez coming to the plate now.
And Tom,
Ramirez doubled in her last at bat.
Right.
But it doesn't help them when she doesn't have anybody on the bases. And that running error a little while ago by Cheyenne Navarro. And a good job by the Renegades right now, kind of controlling the narrative in this game and the tempo.
Well, you make a good point. They are playing a completely different game compared to that first game.
Well, in all honesty, the Warriors didn't really give the Renegades a drubbing in that first game. They only scored 4 runs, and the Renegades really did have a little bit of a key on it. The 2 they gave up in the first inning, they kind of settled it after that, and then there were only 2 more runs scored throughout the rest of the 7 innings. So the Renegades kind of really had them for a bit, had some runners in scoring positions for a short amount of time, even though they only got 3 hits, but they did get some walks and reached on a few errors. So, I mean, there's some room for improvement there. That one's over to right field, and a great snag by Serenity Angulo, and she was going back toward the warning track. Hauls that one in, and we're heading to the bottom of the 4th, an exciting one here at Bakersfield College. We'll be back after this. A great chase down by Serenity Angulo to end the top of the 4th inning. And so far, the Renegades playing like a completely different team. Liz Alderete now, the designated player, coming to the plate. She flew out to the pitcher in the first at bat in the 1st inning. Fans who missed it today, it was T-shirt giveaway or jersey giveaway today, and I grabbed a couple of them, and I was really happy to do so. So I got one for my grandson Charlie, who is watching at home tonight, and I also got one for my granddaughter Catalina, who's watching back in Washington D.C. And so Grandpa's bringing home a jersey for both of you guys, courtesy of the Bakersfield College Renegades and 17 News. That was a bit of a soft swing by Alderete. Foul back to the net. And now it's 1-2. Alderete be followed by Cambria Scott and Andrea Barajas. That one's outside. Now the count's even at 2. Renegades leading 1-0 in the bottom of the 4th. And that one's inside. She did swing, but it was a called strike, and down she goes. And there's the first out of the inning. And Alexia Ramirez's first strikeout of the game. She had 5 in the previous game. And now coming to the plate, Cambria Scott, the first baseman. She flew out to center in the 1st inning. And the Renegades had base runners and left them on. And a big swing by Scott. And the count's 0-1. That pitch called low, and now the count's 1-1. Julian Wilson informed us that for every home run the Renegades hit today, he will do 50 push-ups.
That's right.
And Julian Wilson can do all 50. Now, if you ask me to do it, we're going to be here for a couple days, and I'm going to need a break and lunch and dinner and breakfast and then another lunch. So we're going to miss, and the count's 1-2.
And an ice pack, huh?
And an ice pack and a rub down. A great day out here at the softball field at Bakersfield College. A lot of stuff going on here, too. And that one's outside. Now the count's 2-2. Of course, the new Bakersfield College Sports Complex is going to be up and running next season for volleyball, basketball, and beach volleyball, as well as the locker room facilities for our football program. So really looking forward to that next year. And a nice changeup on that one, and a swing and a miss. Down she goes. And 2 strikeouts here in the bottom of the 4th inning for Alexia Ramirez. Andrea Barajas now the catcher coming up to bat. Barajas a .250 batting average. And she gets on base a third of the time. And that one caught the inside corner of the plate for a strike. And the count's 0-1. Swing and a miss, and the 0-2 is the count. And the one thing I think people haven't realized, the difference between softball and baseball, they get through this game quickly.
Yes, they do. I mean, even though it's only 7 innings, they still get through it very, very quick.
And that one just high and outside. Now the count's 1-2. And the one thing they've instituted in college baseball now for the past few seasons is the pitch clock set at 20 seconds. And we noticed that we have the pitch clock set up over here for Bakersfield College in a couple of different places now.
Right.
Division I softball now, and that one is a pass ball. Oh, and she mishandles the pass ball. And it would have been a third strike called, but she dropped it and had to throw over to first and misplaced it. And Andrea Barajas is going to get to base with 2 out here in the bottom of the 4th inning, and Jennifer Padilla coming to the plate.
You're right. That would have been a 3rd out, so I know that coach is not too happy right now.
So now you're looking at this. The worst circumstances tend to happen when stuff like that happens. You start to score runs with 2 outs, and it starts at one place. Talk to the New York Yankees about that in their last game last season.
That's right.
I'm sure that they will agree with everything I'm saying right now. That one right down the middle for a first called strike, and the count's 0-1.
Yeah, you never know what's going to make a difference in any game, especially baseball and softball.
And Alexia Ramirez struck out the first 2 batters in this inning, and that would have been a 3rd one, so she would have struck out the side had it not been for that drop ball, and actually probably even more so the fumbling of it before gunning down the runner over at third base or first base.
Technically, she did strike her out.
Technically, she did.
Yes.
Swing and a miss, and down she goes, and we're done with 4 innings of play. It's the Renegades 1, the Warriors 0.
Life's better when you're a member of Valley Strong Credit Union. Because footing the bill's hard, but getting points makes it easy. And going to the pharmacy's a pain. But saving on your prescriptions is a relief. And unexpected bills are hard. But getting your paycheck direct deposited early makes it easier. When life moves, keeping up is easy with Valley Strong's new checking benefits.
Okay. And we're back as they're singing the 7th inning stretch here in the 5th inning. Sheree Shoemake doing a great job of leading the crowd. Of course, some of you may know Sheree. Sheree is our public address announcer up here for Bakersfield College women's softball. But she was also an official for many years here and a teacher in the Kern High School district. So she's retired now, and this is her joy, announcing softball games for Bakersfield College, and we're glad to have her here. A quality person and a great announcer, a public address announcer here at Bakersfield College. In the top of the 5th inning, and a grounder over to shortstop, and Jennifer Padilla makes the throw and puts her away. You know, Cambria Scott doing a great job at first base. Sometimes that ball's not on the dot.
Right.
You know, she caught one in the first inning that was kind of off to her left side, and she, does have, she is a right-handed thrower, so a first baseman that doesn't have a left-handed glove is a little bit tougher sometimes. But she did a great job over there, and now coming up, Emily Gamboa. Gamboa, the designated player. Check swing, they call over to first base, and it's called a ball, no swing, and the count's 1-0. Gamboa grounded out to second in the 2nd inning. That one's back right up the middle, in between the legs of Alexia Ramirez. Boy, those comebackers are a little tough. And she was just a little behind getting it, and we're going to probably rule that a base hit. That's a tough one for any pitcher, especially when you get started when that thing's coming straight back at you. Huh?
It went right down. She just missed it and just boom. But look at the profile of this El Camino team right now. They don't look the same as they did in the beginning of the day. They seem more focused. They seem more driven right now, knowing that it's the 5th inning and they're down 1-0.
Camby Garcia now up to bat, the right fielder. Grounded out in the 3rd inning. And the Renegades made quick work a couple of innings. They really only had one tough inning so far, and that would have been the second inning when they gave up a hit. So other than that, well, actually, I think 2 hits have been given up so far by Alexia Martinez. So 2 hits on 5 innings so far, and only a couple of base runners for the Warriors. Garcia swings on the first one, looking for the double play, and they're going to get it.
Wow.
Martinez, helping her own cause, fires it over. A nice 1-6-3 double play, and we're headed to the bottom of the 5th inning. Renegades with a 1-6-3 double play to end that 5th inning, top of the 5th inning, and now we're heading to the bottom of the 5th inning with Harrison, Salas, and Perez coming up to bat. Isabella Harrison grounded out to second in the the second inning. Harrison batting .320. An exciting game so far with a couple of really great plays by both squads, but that defense of the Renegades, and Julian, you said it, a much different team in this second game than they were in the first one. And Harrison tried to get crafty, just puts a little slap on that one. It goes right back to Lexi Ramirez, who throws over to first for the first out of the inning.
You know, and I don't think the Renegades should, and I don't think that they are. I don't think that they should relax. They really need to take one of these innings and try to get a little more cushion.
And now Anaí Pintado heading out to the pitcher's circle to talk to her pitcher as to what they're going to do now with Sadie Salas. Now, Sadie grounded out to shortstop in the 3rd inning, but she got a hit in the 1st inning that led off to that whole scoring fiasco. They got 1 run out of it, but hey, they got 1 run and they hadn't gotten any runs so far. And she scored that first run. Serenity Angulo brought her in and has the only RBI of the game and the only RBI of the day for the Renegades. That pitch on the outside corner, called strike, and the count's 0-1. Ramirez fires inside. Just misses to the inside, and the count's 1-1. And I'll tell you what, that fastball is humming. You know, she pitched a complete game the first one, and you wouldn't know it by how hard she's throwing right now.
Right. You know, and I didn't know it, so I guess that happens occasionally.
Alexia Ramirez has a nasty changeup too, and another pop-up, and that's going to be the second out of the inning. With Aliya Perez now coming up. Aliya reached on an error in the 1st inning and got a hit in the 3rd. So Perez playing center field, and the Renegades haven't really been busy in the outfield right now in this game as they were in the last one. In a stark contrast, the Warriors had 11 hits in the first game. And so far in this one, They only have 2. That one hits the outside corner and is called a strike. The count's 0-1.
Well, you have to credit that a lot to the Renegade defense. They've been playing some amazing defense.
Well, on top of that, I think it's the pitching of it's the pitching of Alexia Martinez. I got Lexi Ramirez on one team and Alexia Martinez on the other. Martinez, of course, is our home pitcher here for the Renegades. So Martinez has been the difference, and another laid down bunt there, and she's not going to beat it out. And the Renegades go down 1-2-3 as we head to the 6th inning. More Renegade softball right after this.
Back.
Alexia Martinez has only faced 17 batters, in the first 5 innings. So it's been 3, 4, 4, 3, 3. So really a stark contrast to that first game. And the difference has been Alexia Martinez so far. And we don't want to take anything away from Serenity Angulo. Angulo is a really good pitcher as well.
Right.
And doing a bang-up job out in right field right now.
Yeah. Well, it's just like you said earlier, the Renegades were in that first game. They were right there.
Catcher Anaí Pintado now up to bat for the Warriors. And that one hits the dirt about 10 feet before it got into the catcher. Andrea Barajas. 1-0 the count. Pintado grounded out in the 3rd inning. 2 balls, no strikes the count. It has gotten a little colder out here.
Be a man.
That's what I've been told. We are on top of the press box at the Crow's Nest to call this one a great spot, by the way. That one hits the outside corner for a called strike, and now the count's 2-1. But a nice spring night for softball, and, Martinez has been in control so far. You just hope that the cold weather doesn't start to kind of slow her down a bit. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That was just kind of off the end of the bat. And Martinez goes over, scoops it up, and throws Pintado out at first base, and we got one away in the top of the 6th.
Big time. I could go get you a hot chocolate. Would you like a hot chocolate?
I think you have other more important jobs to do right now, Julian.
Anything for you, man.
First baseman Savannah Castigar now coming up to bat. Castigar flew out to second in the 1st inning and grounded out in the 3rd. That one on the outside corner misses, and 1-0 is the count. Castigar, with the best batting average on this squad, is hitting .571. And she's in the leadoff spot. So a really important batter for this squad. Her slugging percentage is .871. So she strikes out very seldomly. 2 balls, no strikes. Here comes the foul. That one's fouled off back toward the backstop, and now the count's 2-1. Renegades leading 1-0 here in the 6th inning. And again, not doing too much damage on the offensive end, but have tightened it up on the defensive end behind Alexia Martinez.
Yes, they tightened it up tremendously. Like I said, it has been amazing to watch this evening after that first game.
And Martinez fires that one in there. It's low, and now the count's 3-1. Martinez doing a bang-up job in the circle today for the Renegades. And again, I think the Renegades are definitely of the belief that they have a chance at winning this game. And a chance to last one. Martinez with a nice knockdown. What a comebacker right at her, and everyone's going to check on her to make sure she's okay. She just put a glove out, managed to knock that one down and throw the runner out over at first base. A great job by Alexia Martinez, serving her own cause here today. So Garcia threw out the first runner on that grounder, that short grounder, and then knocks that one down on a comebacker to get the second out. And now Emma Garcia, the third baseman, up to bat, grounded out in the first inning and grounded out in the third. One ball, no strikes. And that one in the same spot as the last one misses, and now it's 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the 6th inning. I'm Tom Myers, and that's Julian Wilson. We're going to be here for another 2 innings. And that one misses again, and now the count's 3-0. Martinez from the circle. Here comes the 3-0 pitch. And that one's outside and misses. And Emma Garcia is going to take a nice walk down to first base as one runner is on now in the top of the 6th. And coming to the plate, Cheyenne Navarro. Cheyenne Navarro grounded out to shortstop in the first inning. She got a hit in the fourth. And that one's popped up, and it's going to go to right field. And Angulo's going to be out there, and we're going to put that one in the books. And then we're going to head to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Renegades 1, the Warriors 0. Renegades will bring up Bramhall, Angulo, and Alderete here in the bottom of the 6th inning as they lead 1-0 over the Warriors of El Camino. Once again, El Camino won the first game today in this doubleheader by a score of 4-0, and the Renegades really had some trouble getting some offense going. El Camino, 20-3 so far this season, one of the top-rated softball teams in the state. And the Renegades, 4-2 in conference, now 4-3, and an overall record of 13 and 16. So trying to climb back into the 500s and get even. They'll be closer to doing that if they can get a win here. Ramirez with the 1-1 pitch. That one fouled down the line, out of play. Brylee Bramhall reached on an error in the first and then flew out to second in the third. Bramhall, the third baseman for this Renegade squad. That one's over the outstretched hands of Anaí Pintado. Goes all the way back to the net. That one's high. Now the count is full. And Bramhall has to protect here. A chance to get on and try to get some insurance runs here in the bottom of the sixth. And that one's low and in the dirt. She's going to head over to first. And a leadoff walk here in the bottom of the sixth inning for the Renegades as Serenity Angulo is now coming up to bat. Angulo pitched 7 innings in that loss the previous game of this doubleheader, but has done a bang-up job and didn't do a bad job. She gave up 2 runs in the first inning, and then they managed to scuttle in a couple of runs throughout the remainder of like the 5th and the 7th innings, and that one's fouled back to the net. But boy, Angulo doing a great job out in right field today. Has nabbed a couple of them.
Right, and I tell you what, the Renegades can bring this runner around and bring her home. They would really put some pressure on El Camino, and it's tough sometimes to play when you're pressured and you got it and you have to score.
And the speedy Brylee Bramhall over at first base. And Angulo, the count is 0-2. That one's fired.
Who's out?
They're going to call her out over at first base.
Really?
No, they're going to call that a third pitch strike. And Angulo goes down 1, 2, 3, and she's out. And there's one out here in the bottom of the 6th inning with Liz Alderete coming to the plate. Alderete, the designated player. She flew out to the pitcher, just popped up to the infield in the first inning. And then she struck out in the 4th. Ramirez with the 1-0 pitch. And a bunt attempted and missed, and that's going to be called a strike. 1-1 the count. Check swing, and that's called strike, and now the count's 1-2. And that one hits the inside corner of the plate. She's going to go down looking. And 2 strikeouts in a row for Lexi Ramirez after walking the leadoff batter. And now Cambria Scott, the first baseman, is going to come to the plate. And she flew out to center in the first inning and struck out in the 4th as well. And much like the first game, Lexi Ramirez has 5 strikeouts in this one. And that one's fouled off back and out of play. 0-1 the count now. And a good job. Once again, the speedy runner, Brylee Bramhall, makes it over to second base. Ani Pintado, she came up throwing, and it was a good throw. But Bramhall got a good jump and just took off. Now the count's 1-1. Once again, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Renegades leading 1-0. That one fouled back to the net. And 1-2 now the count. You know, fans, be sure to tune in next Friday as we broadcast beach volleyball for the Bakersfield Women's Beach Volleyball Program from California State University, Bakersfield. Julian?
Yes, and I think we did it once last year, and it was absolutely exciting. It was so wonderful to watch those young ladies compete.
I will be out there along with Julian broadcasting all of the events that day. And also, if you want, you can come on out and enjoy a nice beach day at Cal State Bakersfield. Yeah. Hopefully we have some decent weather. It got rained out a couple of weeks ago when we were supposed to do it. So we're kind of looking forward to that. And they're having a little conference on the mound of which we are not privy to at this moment. I think one of the coaches is having a little bit of an issue with it right now for BC. And I'm trying to figure out, well, I unplugged something here, and now I can't go back to my stats. So sometimes everything doesn't work all at once. So coming out, that was Michael Smith coming out for the Renegades. No, I'm sorry, I got the wrong one there. Wrong one. That was Dave Harding who came out. He's kind of arguing a little bit. He was actually the third base coach coming over going, hey, wait a minute. A little too much time is going on here as they're having a little conference out on the mound.
Right.
That one fouled back. Count is 1-2. Once again, we're in the bottom of the 6th inning, and the Renegades have a 1-0 lead. The only run scored in the first inning for either team. And she really didn't want to swing on that one, checked too hard, and they called a strike. And the Renegades, 3 strikeouts in that inning by Lexi Ramirez. And we're going to go to the 7th inning and hope that the Renegades can hold on. We'll be back right after this.
Life's better when you're a member of Valley Strong Credit Union. Because footing the bill's hard, but getting points makes it easy. And going to the pharmacy's a pain. But saving on your prescriptions is a relief. And unexpected bills are hard. But getting your paycheck direct deposited early makes it easier. When life moves, keeping up is easy with Valley Strong's new checking benefits.
So now checking in for number 15, Ari Molina, is number 2, Morgan Knight, in her first appearance today. Knight batting .182 with an on-base percentage of .317. And the first pitch called outside for a ball. 1-0 the count. Knight swings on that one, sends it to center field. Oh, all the way back to the fence. She's rounding for second. She's going to get thrown out. Oh, a bad idea. And a big throw by Jackie Ordonis, excuse me. Ordonis grabbed that one off the fence and fired it into second base. And for a second, I thought that Ari Molina was going to grab it, but she let it go, and Cheyenne Navarro grabbed a hold of it as Knight was rounding, and before she knew it, it was too late. She tried to turn and got chased down by Navarro for the first out here in the top of the 7th inning. And now coming to the plate is Lexi Ramirez, the pitcher. First pitch down the middle, called strike. Alexia Martinez from the circle. That one's fouled off to the net. And the count's 0-2. And Julie, we've had some exciting moments tonight.
Yes,
and that was one of them. A running error on the part of Morgan Knight in her first appearance in the game. I think she was just maybe a little too excited. She rounded first like she wasn't going to stop. I don't think she realized that Jackie Ordonis was going to get that ball off the fence so fast and turn and fire. I think it completely surprised her.
Yes.
A great play. And the outfield in this second game has been absolutely outstanding.
Again, the defense has kicked in this entire game, and right now El Camino is feeling the pressure.
And the Renegades hoping to give El Camino their 4th loss of the season. Kind of paying back the favor for the first one. And El Camino, a fantastic team. And they've been held by Alexia Martinez and this defense for the Renegades in this second game.
Yes, this is a great opportunity for the Renegades if they can just get these next 2 outs and close this game out.
Martinez with the 2-2 pitch. That one just off the corner, and the count is full. And you can hear the displeasure in the stands. They really wanted that one. Here comes the payoff. Fire it over to shortstop. Grabbed.
Wow.
A great play by Cheyenne Navarro. And a fantastic throw. Down to her knees, grabs the ball, jumps to her feet, and fires a rocket to first base. And 2 outs now with Emily Gamboa coming to the plate. Correction.
It's number 1.
It's Jackie Ordonis coming to the plate now. That one just outside, and the count's 1-0. Ordonis, yes.
Tom, that was not an easy play.
That was absolutely not an easy play.
It was not an easy play.
That one fired in for a strike, and the count's 1-1. Jackie Ordonis, the center fielder, got a hit in the second and grounded out to shortstop in the 5th. And that one's also over to shortstop, the handy.
Wow.
Cheyenne Navarro puts this one away, and the Renegades take the second game 1-0 and even up the day. What a fantastic showing. And I'll tell you what, Cheyenne Navarro over at shortstop played one heck of a game today.
It's an amazing, amazing game. We have to give it to the – like we said on the outset, they came out with more spark. This was a completely different team, especially defensively on this field.
Alexia Martinez giving up only 3 hits today. Well, I stand corrected. I think that's 4 hits. And a fantastic effort on the defense for this Renegade squad. And really going up against one of the top teams in the state showed what they were made of behind the leadership of Alexia Martinez in the circle.
And gave them their 4th loss of the season. They did not want to lose this game.
Absolutely. So the Renegades snap a 5-game losing streak. And they improve to 5-3 in conference now. And they are 14-17 on the season. And then they have another couple of games coming up in the next few weeks here. Renegades will play Glendale at Glendale on Tuesday the 1st. and also away at LA Valley on Thursday the 3rd. Back home here next Friday against Pasadena City College. Once again, this has been Titan Tom Myers and the Dr. Julian Wilson. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Next time.